Hey, what's up guys? Thank you so much for tuning in today. Dehancer hit me up asking me to do a review and tutorial on this plugin. Now this plugin is a third-party application that you can use for DaVinci Resolve, After Effects, Adobe Premiere, and Final Cut Pro. Now this video is not sponsored, they are not paying me, so this review is an honest review, and I'm looking forward to jumping into this video and just showing you this new plugin that you can use to take your digital film and bring it to another level using all of their amazing film stocks that they have available. On top of that, they have so many different settings that you can utilize, such as halation, bloom, film damage, and many more. Now, as somebody that is coming from a portrait photography world, this plugin was incredibly easy to jump right in and start messing around with all the different settings and features that they have available for you to mess around with. So let's go ahead and jump right into this video. I have a shot of one of my amazing models, Brianna. We were shooting at the beach during midday hours. I was shooting with the A7 III and S-Log3 with the Sigma 35 1.4. And right now you can see I have a very simple node tree setup. I don't want to do anything too complicated. I'm not a pro colorist or anything like that, so I want to keep it simple and to showcase that even beginner filmmakers, videographers can get right into this. This program is pretty good for all skill levels. So I'm starting out with a white balance and then a base layer that's going to be like for my contrast, my levels and all that stuff. And then I have a color space transform and then my dehancer node and then a sharpen at the end, which we probably won't touch because I will be doing some stuff with dehancer, but I just have that just in case. For now, just keep it everything simple. So right off the bat, I'm going to start with my color space transform. It is said that it's best to do your color space transform before you go into dehancer. You can just do a little bit more with bringing your clip out with the color or your levels and all that other stuff. So always do your color space transform before you do your dehancer settings. So I'm going to use the Phantom LUTs, and I am going to use the Eastman RM A7S3. Now, of course, I wasn't shooting on the A7S3, however, their LUTs are pretty good with anything that is with S-Log3 if you're using their S-Log3 LUTs. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. So now that we have a pretty good balanced look, I am going to go ahead and move on to my dehancer node. Now the reason I'm not doing my base layer or my white balance yet is because once you move into dehancer, you're going to be changing a whole lot of things, and you would have to make a bunch of adjustments back here after you mess around with dehancer. So leave these at the end. Just do your color space transform and then your dehancer. However, if that's not something that you want to do yourself, everybody has a different way of shooting and doing their adjustments with DaVinci or whatever program that you use. So I'll leave you to that. But for me, I'm going to do my color space transform and then my dehancer. So once you have dehancer installed, which they do have a very easy to follow instruction manual for that, all you do, just like any other effect, you just click and drag, which I just clicked and dragged to the wrong node, so I'm going to change that. So right off the bat, you can see how our clip changed, and a lot of these are kind of their default settings. So Kodak Vision 3 250D. So I'm going to go to the top, and again, they have so many different film stocks available for you to look through, and all you have to do is just click on the drop down menu, and actually you can use your scroll wheel menu to kind of cycle through the different film stocks that they have available, and then you can kind of just see which one you think works the best. Now for me, I always really like the Kodak film stock, so we're just going to go ahead and jump down to the Kodak Vision 3, and we're going to go with the 500T. Now again, whichever clip that you have, there might be different clips that work better for you, but for me, I'm going to use this one. This one felt like the nicest looking out of all of them for this specific clip. And now every single one of their settings has an enable and a push or pull or different sliders for different effects. So for this one, I believe it just means like how processed the clip is going to be. But I normally leave it on default, and if anything, I'd maybe move it to the right. So you can see here when I just enable, or toggle rather, toggle on and off, you can see the effect that we have so far. And then we can move down to our film compression. Again, everything must be enabled. You can slide back and forth if you want more impact with your compression. Your white point, you can increase or decrease your tonal range, and you can see how that's affecting the clip. I don't like to do too much with some of these settings. I like to keep it pretty minimal. A lot of these film stocks are really great just right out the gate, so in my opinion, you don't have to mess around too much with the different settings. However, with these settings, it gives you so much flexibility with the different film stocks that they have available. So I think that's really great, and I think they've done a really great job with their plugin. So here we have the print, and we have 5 different settings. You have your linear, which is just kind of like how it is regular, like there's no differences. And then you have your Cineon. Whoops, that didn't go through. So you have your Cineon film log, and again, you can mess around with the settings that they have available right here. They have their Fujifilm 3513 print film, Kodak 2383 print film, which is a lot of people's favorite film print to use. And then the last one is their Kodak Endura glossy paper, which is really just kind of a more contrasty look of whatever you picked above. However, for this one, I think I'm just going to stick to linear, as I don't really need to do too much. And if I want more contrast, I can just go to my base layer and increase the contrast. But they do have these settings available for you, so you can do so much just within the plugin itself. You don't have to make a complicated node tree if you don't want to. Now again, I'm a beginner when it comes to a lot of things, such as being a colorist, a filmmaker, a videographer. So keep that in mind when I'm talking, as I am not an expert. I am a beginner. I want to make that clear. And I just want to show from that perspective how easy it is to kind of jump into this program and do the different things that they have available for this plugin. Now below, they have a color head, so you can mess around with your, make sure that's enabled, your RGB, your CMYK settings, all of that. So that's all available right here if you want to mess around with that. I won't be for this clip. They have your film grain, which you kind of see already. So this is one of their default settings that are automatically applied. And you can go ahead and toggle that on and off if you want to see what it looks like with just a clean image. However, they do have multiple profiles available to you. So all the way from custom to 8mm ISO 50 all the way to 65mm ISO 500. So you have a lot of options even just with the film grain, which I think is amazing considering how many film grain overlays are available out there. And instead of having to download so many different film grains, you have one feature just right here within the plugin, and you have so many options. On top of that, you have a slider to affect how much or how little grain you want into your film, which I think is just perfect just in and of itself, because since everybody's kind of going after that film look, you have so much film features in just one plugin. I think that's just so amazing, so convenient, and perfect for anybody that's looking to have a more filmish look in their videos. So that's one option right here, their film grain. And again, everything needs to be enabled if you want it to be put in your clip. Next is halation. Halation is a big one that I've been seeing a lot of people use in their videos, and that's just a simple toggle right here. And again, they have many profile settings right here as well. So they have custom 8mm Super 8 all the way down to 65mm 70mm no rim jet. So they have a lot of different options, and again, with each setting you have, make sure my disable my proxies. So with each one they have again a slider available for each profile that you can utilize, and that's available for that. So you have your film grain, your halation, and now we're going to go ahead and go down to our bloom. So bloom again is another big feature that a lot of people like to use in their footage. You might see this with people using like a Tiffin filter, which I have myself, but there might be a time where you forget your Tiffin filter, or maybe you don't apply it to your video that you've taken, and then you look back at your clip and wish you used it. Well, right here you have your bloom setting. So you have, again, you have different settings: 8mm Super 8, 65mm 70mm, excuse me. And again, just toggle that on, and you can do like no effect all the way to max settings, and you can see different effects with that right here. Now, of course, this is a daylight or midday setting, so we're not going to see a big effect. So this might be really cool to use when you're at um, shooting at some night scene with a lot of neon lights or something. So you have that available. We're going to leave that in, but we do like the softer look on the skin, so that is another way you can utilize bloom, is if you want a softer look with your model, if you shoot models. And then one of my favorites, you have your film damage. Again, click that drop down menu to see more profiles, and you can swing the slider to have more in your clip. You have film damage, or excuse me, film breath, sorry, film breath. We have that available, and you can see how that affects the clip a little bit. Now, one thing I do want to make clear is that with this plugin, you will see once you apply it to your clip, your computer may bog a little bit. So that's something to keep in mind when you are doing your settings and applying the different features onto the clip. So you might have to kind of either do what I do and make proxies, or you might have to completely export the video or render the video and then take a look at the video and then make different adjustments from there. So keep that in mind with this plugin. And then you have your gate weave. I'm not too well versed on that, but you do have that available if you know how to really utilize that with different clips. Again, you have your drop down menu as well as a slider to affect the clip that you are using. One of my favorite settings and features that they have available for this plugin is the Overscan. Now we're going to go ahead and enable that, and you can see that we have a simple overlay. I'm just calling it an overlay, but it's not an overlay, it's part of the plugin. And you will see that people use this with their clips, as it does give that kind of filmish vibe. There's so many different options for you to choose from. And everything is just plugged in right away, so you don't have to have a bunch of overlays available. You can just come in here, drop down menu, select which one you like the most, and then you go from there. My personal favorite is the Super 8mm 1.33. I think it's the least cluttery, if that makes sense, the least cluttery and like the most simple at the same time. So you also have the exposure, which just affects the border a little bit right over here. Keep that at 0. And then you have your scale, which just expands or decreases the size. So if you start here, obviously just go back down. So default is always at 0. And then you have your gate defocus, which just kind of blurs the borders around the sides. And then of course you can flip it to the other side. So that's one of my favorite personal features that they have available with this plugin. And then vignette, I don't think I really need to go over that. Everybody, I think, knows what a vignette is. You can make a dark vignette or a very white vignette, so they have that available. Now another cool feature that they have available is the monitor. Now I have this on my Atomos Ninja 5, but they have this available for their plugin, which I think is incredibly convenient. So it's a false color, which you can test out the different colors, and I think this is really good for portrait photographers or people that shoot models or fashion with people, because you really need to make sure that the skin is looking good. And you can see right here that we're actually hitting hot spots on her shoulder and her midsection and her hands. So this is incredibly convenient to have just right here, so you can make sure that all of your settings are dialed in correctly, especially if you're working with models. I think this is just incredibly convenient to have in a plugin. And now lastly, we have like an output. So this is just kind of like your opacity. It just has, this is just the total output. So 100% of everything that you apply to within this node. And then of course you around 50% and then 0. So this would be nothing, of course. And then 100. They have a LUT generator right here. So you can export your LUTs that you make within Dehancer. And then lastly right here is your different quality options. So you have normal or high. And then right here you have your license info. So whichever license that you currently have, it'll give you that information. This is where you will be updating your profiles. So you just click the check profiles, and then that's when it'll update any profiles that they update onto their plugin. So it'll just automatically appear. Same thing with their print. So if they add anything here, you just hit that check profiles and it'll automatically update. So that's pretty much it. These are all the settings that I've used for this individual clip. And again, they have so many different options. I mean, just check out all these different profiles. I believe they have it available on their website as well for you guys to take a look at, different before and afters. I mean, again, this is coming from a portrait photographer getting into more video work, and using this plugin for the first time over the past month has been just a blast to use. I mean, some of these clips that I've been using this past month I thought were just kind of goners. I didn't think they were worth taking a look at anymore, but once I got this program, I went back and plugged in a lot of these old clips and just started messing around, and it just gave such a fresh new look that I never would have thought I would be able to get without this plugin. And it really gives you kind of a different perspective on where you could possibly take your clips to. If you're not a big colorist, if you're a beginner like me, you might think, well, I can't really go super far with some of these clips. Well, with this plugin, you can really do some crazy stuff. And even right here, I probably wouldn't go much further than this. It might not be a bad clip, but just with some additional settings, you can take your clip to a whole new level. So very fun to use. I had a great time messing around with this plugin. They do have a 2-week, I believe a 2-week trial period that you could utilize and download and just check out the program for yourself. I encourage you guys to do that and just see what you can do with your clips. Just take some old clips that you might have and just plug them in and start messing around. I also do have a promo code that you guys can use if you guys do decide to purchase the plugin for yourself. It is Thor, that is THOR, and you guys are free to use that for a 10% off of any of their programs. Now their program is for video and photo. So their video programs are available for DaVinci Resolve, Premiere Pro, After Effects, and Final Cut Pro. But their photo plugin is available for Lightroom, Photoshop, Capture One, and Affinity Pro. And lastly, they do have an iOS app. It is available on the App Store. However, my 10% promo is not available for that application, but it is available on the App Store if you guys want to go ahead and check it out. You can go ahead and download it, plug in your own photos, and just see what the effects do. However, you won't be able to save the photos without the watermark, but you can go ahead and check that out for yourself and see if that's a good fit for you. Thank you again so much for checking out this video. I really hope that you got something out of this. Now feel free to check me out on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Threads, and Pinterest. I'm Michael Thor on pretty much everything. I'll have links for all of that down below. Again, if you have any feedback for me, feel free to drop anything in the comment section. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, also drop that into the comment section. I'd love to hear your feedback and what you think about the clips or the plugin itself. Looking forward to seeing what you guys create. Feel free to tag me in anything that you guys create. I'd love to take a look at what you guys make and see if I can even learn anything from you guys. So thank you again for checking out my video. I hope that you guys stay tuned, and I hope to provide some more videos in the future with anything that I create. Again, this video is not sponsored. I'm not being paid by Dehancer. This is an honest review, and I hope that you got something out of this video. Thank you. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day.